so they can keep force buying out, but they need rounds. And Guardian tries to push long A, and Shazam does in fact win the duel. So that's once again Guardian down early. Can Tempostorm actually, close out a round with that advantage though?
Yeah, so Guardian out of the way here. Sees he's going to get a good read here. Does he get Roka? Not able to get him down, so Roka will punish him. And that's going to be a two-man advantage here as Seized and Guardian are both out of the way. Tempostorm going to be down by 7 rounds. If they can start mounting the comeback here, it's not too little too late at this point, but they definitely need to get it rolling right now. Not allow Na'Vi to get to that match point, and then all the pressure will be on them to try and get it even at 15. Oh, Blamey, what a good shot there on the Rix. Roka does go on the trade as Zeus. And automatic will be able to catch Flamey out in middle. That'll make this a 4 versus 1 with Edward alive. Edward's going to be the last player over at B. We're really in contention for trying to make something happen in this round. Yeah,
I mean, that's just Tempostorm catching the aggression. Shazam posted up, watching for a long A push as he's been doing the past few rounds. Finally, someone's actually feeding him a frag on that area of the map. You did see C's try to get aggressive at mid-slope to trade out, and Roka's waiting for him, grabs a kill. So 5 versus 3 from there. You just got to close out rounds like that, and they were able to. So it's going to be 14-8. But can they keep it going? Like I said, Na'Vi still very, very close to winning this map now. Can we see another comeback effort out of Tempostorm? That's really what we're waiting to find out.
Yeah, and realistically, their economy is not too hot right now. I mean, you have Zeus with only 2,700, Flamey with only 3,300, so you do have Seized who can drop 1. And you do have Guardian with some money here, so they can put together a buy, although it's not going to be the greatest one in the world. So they are putting it together right now, and it's going to be interesting what Flamey goes with. Yeah, he's going to pick up the FAMAS, get the body armor, get some utility out, so he's going to have something going for him, but Guardian does have the off in his hands. That's the biggest thing right now for Na'Vi.
Yeah, Tempostorm looking for that long B hit. Like I said, one of their favorite things to do. They're just going to do it really quick. Can Edward shut it down this time around? He spots one, sprays down, finding the kills here. And this is really just bogging Tempostorm down. It's not looking good.
Yeah, Shazam going to hit the off shot there to take out Flamey, and Stanislaw is able to get one, or excuse me, Shazam got seized. Flamey goes down to Stanislaw, and it's all up to Shazam now. Tries to hit the off shot, will miss it, and that is going to be Na'Vi grabbing that 15th round. They are so very close from this point on forward. This is map point, this is match point, and this could be it for Tempostorm.
Yeah. And that's just rough. I mean, their long B hasn't worked for them against Na'Vi, but they tried to go to it. They've been stuffed both times. They were having much more of an effect just kind of slowly working the A side of the map, but, tried to go back to what they're used to doing, and Edward, put up a quad kill. So that's definitely tough whenever someone makes an individual play like that. So you are seeing Tempostorm possibly playing their last round of the tournament. It's been a great journey for them for sure. They've shocked a lot of people, but it's up to them now if they can, keep putting pages to the story, or if it ends here. This is the final chapter.
It looks like we're gonna have a fast drop player. That's gonna be Rix. He makes it work for him. Ends up hitting the bunny hop down into the drop. Ends up taking Zeus right out of this round, so they could stay into this thing if they're able to, but it's gonna be tough for them to make it happen, as they're gonna be at a large gun disadvantage now. They have that man advantage gone, taken away from Rix, was removed from the round by Seized. Guardian's going to be still holding onto that op, and that's the gigantic difference maker right here for Na'Vi. Let's see if they can hold on to this thing and keep this going.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this could be the last round unless Tempostorm able to fight it out.
Oh, in mid. They are literally right next to each other right there. How does Roka? They don't see each other yet. They don't see each other yet because of the smoke. They're going to pass right past each other.
But
and
Roka hears him run, right? Oh, and he sees him run, but he does take the shot and he misses it, but that's okay. Flamey just hiding out here at long B, finds one, finds a second. It's all up to Stanislaw and Roka. It's a 2 versus 2. This is quite tense. Will it be over here?
Oh, Flamey's going to take a ton of damage right there, but he is going to get the shot on Stanislaw, so now it's all up to Roka. This is it. If he wants to keep his team alive in this thing, he's got to get these shots. Flamey's so very lit, down to 19 HP. He's going to get flanked from Seized at the drop, and that is going to do it. Na'Vi is going to take the match home in map number 3, 16-8 over Tempostorm, and what a great victory finally coming out from Na'Vi, able to bring that one home finally after a triple overtime on map number 2, after barely winning map number 1. I mean, man, that was a very, very close game, and I don't think Na'Vi expected that at all when they found out they were going to be playing Tempostorm in this match.
No, not at all. I mean, it's been a rough journey for Na'Vi in general this entire tournament. I mean, losing to Virtus Pro, I mean, obviously they kind of had an easy time with Luminosity. But, coming into that VP match, they were favorited there. They did lose that in a 2-0 series. In fact, they got kind of quite thrashed on the second map. They come into this series, Tempostorm's obviously been impressive. They had that 13-6 to VP. They took care of Luminosity in a 2-1 series. But then they come in here. They take them to the brink on, like, literally the best team on Mirage in the world probably, besides maybe like TSM, takes them to the brink on that 13-16. Then they beat them on Inferno in triple overtime.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy stuff for Tempo Storm. So first, before we talk about Na'Vi, I do want to give credit where credit's due. Tempo Storm played a great tournament. They've been one of the most surprising teams at this event. I know Mouse Sports has been up there, taking down Cloud9, looking good, but this is just incredible to see a team that's brand spanking new, basically, not really on anyone's radar within the NA scene, let alone international play, and they're able to do as well as they have done this tournament, even getting a mapping into top 3 team in the world.
And I mean, they were part of this big shuffle we saw, because we've seen Tempo Storm before. We lost some of their bigger players. We lost somebody like Hades, and that was kind of a question mark. What was going to happen with Tempo Storm going forward? Losing somebody like Hades, a great Counter-Strike mind, maybe having some issues outside of that or whatever it was, but they lost him, and I guess we have our answer now. They're going to show up to events like this, and they're going to play against some of the best teams in the world, and they're going to look really good. They're going to frag well, they're going to execute strats effectively, and they're not going to get too aggressive and make dumb moves. I mean, realistically, Tempo Storm just played absolutely great right there against Na'Vi, and if the finals come down to, say, a Na'Vi Cloud9 or something like that, and Cloud9 doesn't perform as well as Tempo Storm did, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, but let's go back over to the Na'Vi side of things. I mean, finally getting the job done. Like I said, this tournament has been nothing but it hasn't been easy for them, especially these last 2 best of 3s that they've played, losing the VP and letting Tempo Storm really kind of push them to the limits. But as a true champion does, they've already won 3 titles this year. They've been top 4 the last 6 events they've attended. They have now guaranteed they will continue that streak of top 4 finishes moving on to the semifinals. But how much further do they take it? I honestly thought they were a favorite to win the tournament coming into this event. But we'll hear a little bit more about that from our analysts. So we're going to pass it down to Sir Scootsthorn and Hiko to take us away and talk about this matchup.
Ambulance, man.
Thank you, Dustin, misled. Well, came up short, but again, like a lot of positive things for Tempo Storm to come away from. But again, as not necessarily perfectly predicted, Na'Vi does prevail. They come out of the group number 2, which makes them play Mouse Sports tomorrow, the number 1 in that group. So thoughts on that final map?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Mouse Sports watching this were pulling so hard for Tempo Storm there and the easiest semi in history. The problem with the way the 3rd game went was, really, this is how the second map was going to go. It was a similar scenario, like 13-7 on the second map. We thought, okay, Navi's going to pull away here. This time, Na'Vi was always ahead. They always remained ahead. Tempo Storm really, it's like they were spent after map 1 and map 2. You're not going to go 3 full maps with Na'Vi in that way. And also, the fragging really dropped off a cliff. I mean, Automatic, the guy who had the 43 kills, 10 assists. Look, he had, what?
10 kills.
10 kills, yeah, see? I mean, it just comes back down to earth, He's not one of the best players in the world, so that was an anomaly. That was a little blip on the radar there. So, yeah, you have to give Tempo Storm credit. The other 2 maps were great. This one was kind of just by the numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, also, if you look at individual performances, also Shazam, he definitely underperformed compared to what he probably should have done. As we were talking about earlier, like, Cobble is one of those maps where it's hard to limit the enemy opper. And Shazam had an op.
He did a good job of limiting himself there. He was quite ineffective,
that's
to
a
be
good
fair.
point.
I mean, you saw, think of the difference between when we saw Skadoodle playing the same site, same spots.
Yeah.
Skadoodle you knew which shots he'd hit. He'd always pull to the correct, because it's like his reaction was always correct every time. Shazam, it's like he makes the shots harder for himself. He forces it to be a crazy flick shot, and you're not going to hit 4 of those in a row, Where Skadoodle, he already has insane aim, but he just sets up the angle, he makes the shot easy for himself.
I think also that map kind of showed how much, Navi's just on another level. And also, you could see how Tempo Storm definitely was inexperienced against European teams.
They had no strats on T-side.
No, exactly. Their T-side, it looked like they were just kind of running around. They were looking for picks, and if they couldn't get picks or they're getting smoked off, they would just sit there waiting. And then it looked like they didn't really have any late round kind of strategies to fall back on.
They had strategies that involved go to everywhere on the map, someone throws both their flashes, no one goes in, and then you just pull back and then decide again where to go. It's like, you're just wasting flashbangs at that point in time. I mean, listen, mate, I don't know how the NA teams play this, the lesser ones, when they're on CT, but it's almost like they expected, if I throw my flash, someone's going to have to peek me and I'll get an aim to you. It's like, well, no, they're going to stay in the site and make you come to them. So, yeah, we saw the flaws there. The other maps, they gave a great accounting for themselves. This map, they just looked outclassed. This is how we expected the other maps to go, to be fair.
Yeah, and I think, again, another good point for them is that it is confidence building. You took a map on Na'Vi, you played decently and well against them on the other 2 maps. Now you're going to North Americans, the finals. That's a good positive. Obviously, they beat Na'Vi. It's a whole different world for them. But again, I think Warden and gang, should be should be okay with that in the sense of, no one expected us to win anything, let alone, do that well against the number 3 team in the world.
Well, yeah, we were also talking about how, the qualifier for ESL Clone is next week.
Yeah.
So we were talking about how maybe the teams who didn't get to attend may have an advantage. I think for Tempo Storm, this definitely was an advantage for them. They got to get really good practice against Na'Vi, and they showed that they can actually compete against them, and I think that motivation will stay with them going into the qualifier next week.
All right, we do have a couple highlights, and they're from both teams. The first one is round number 12, and that's a Roka 4 kill. So we're going to pull that up for you guys.
And obviously Na'Vi was on a force buy here. So, well done.
Just like that.
It's kind of a, Oliver Stone type movie there. Saw it in third person, the action, the gunfire was off in the distance. I understand the ambience of the moment, war is hell, trying to go through what's going on here. Disorientation, gunfire, a man dies, who knows who it was. Good man, bad man, indifference. Life doesn't care, nature doesn't care.
But nature finds a way.
Anyway, we have another clip, right?
We do.
Hopefully from someone's POV this time.
Round number 23, and this is at Edwards, and this is going to be the BenQ.
This was a very good round. This was nuts. He was super close up. He gets one of those crazy scenarios where they just come out of the smoke and they're basically inside your gun barrel.
Yeah.
Watch this. This is a dream if you play in this spot here. And then they're just running into his bullets the whole time. And then they don't even jump over after him. They give him time to reload.
Fall back. Just one by one.
Just wonderful, yeah. That was the thing with Edward, actually. In 1.6, he was known to have one of the best sprays. And he was one of those guys who was crazy with spray. Like, really good aimers, usually, like I can think with proper technique, they aim on your head, then they spray. He's the guy where he sees you, sprays, and then moves it onto your head, which in theory doesn't even work in CSGO. It's not even a really good approach, but he made it work there, so it doesn't matter, I guess, for the best players.
Well, we're going to go to Puckett. Puckett's got an interview, and I didn't quite hear who he's got. I'm trying to look and see. Wait. You got Rix. You got him there? You ready? Chris, take it away, buddy.
Scoots, Rix just left me, but he's on his way back. Oh, he's coming. Oh, and he's bringing us Shazam. It's getting better, boys. Let's come hang out. Rix, come stand next to me, my friend. Tough loss, but an exciting series, much better than a lot of people were expecting. You guys were definitely the underdogs coming in, but you showed what you're made of. How do you feel the team played?
Honestly, this is our first LAN together. We've been pretty much a team for a little over 2 weeks, I would say, and I don't know. We took a map off Na'Vi. Sorry, my voice is a little raspy from yelling, but no, I couldn't have pictured it being any better. I guess we played lights out. The team was we all performed. This is my first actual LAN, so it just felt good. The team played just perfect.
Shazam, we saw some awesome op shots. We saw a very exciting game number 2. How do you feel playing with these guys? What was this event like for you?
I mean, we came here with a lot to prove. We're a roster that isn't really recognized. The players on the team are extremely skilled, but we never really got that recognition. And that's what we came here. We worked really hard. We found out we were coming to this land about a week and a half before, and we really put the time in. And I think we made it a little respectable. I think we showed. Yeah.
It was fun to watch, guys. A tough loss, but we're going to see Na'Vi moving on. First LAN together here in Columbus, Ohio, that we got a chance to watch you here on MLG.TV. What's next for Tempo Storm? Do you guys have anything on the calendar right now?
Yeah, just next week we have to go to LA and Burbank for the ESL qualifiers, the major, and that's a really big goal of ours. I think we've proved here that we're competitive and teams should take us seriously, and we're confident going in. This was really good.
And Rix, let me ask you, man. What can we expect to see from you guys out there in LA?
Honestly, nothing but less than top 2, I guess. That's what we're shooting for. Just hands down. We want to make the major, and we're really trying to get our names out there. You want to do shout-outs? Because Tempo Storm, they've just been unbelievable to us. Namecheap, Twitch, my stream, just G2A, everyone. We can't thank them enough, for sending us out here. I know you guys sent us out here, but just giving us the chance to live our dream and play, play for a job.
Fantastic breakout, guys. Best of luck. Looking forward to your next round of matches. Congratulations for getting this far. I know you put on a great show for everyone watching at home. But once again, guys, awesome meeting you this weekend. Shazam, fun watching you once again. Up next, though, we got Cloud9 CLG. The rematch is going down. Before that, though, I'm talking to Guardian on the other side of this commercial break. guys, we are back live in the MLG.TV Arena. Puckett here with Guardian. Navi gets through, but it took 3 games. You guys were definitely the juggernaut squad coming into this one, but Tempo Storm took you the distance. Talk to me a little bit about this series. Did you think they'd be this strong?
Well, yeah, we expected that they are good because they played pretty close against Virtus Pro. So yeah, I think we underrated them, and yeah, it cost us the game.
So talk to me a little bit about the match. What went wrong for you guys on Inferno? What was Tempo doing to give you such trouble?
Well, on City side, we were arguing with each other a lot, so I would say we lost mentally. And on T side, we somehow took some rounds, and then in overtime we made a lot of mistakes, giving them the space to play, and they were shooting headshots. Yeah.
It's been a long day. Started off against Virtus Pro, things did not go your way. Now though, you're in the Final Four, you're making it to Championship Sunday. What's the goal right now, and what are you thinking knowing that you have to play Mouse Sports tomorrow?
Well, our goal is always the top 4 at least, and now we have to think about the game, about the first round of the first map, and then we can think about something else. But yeah, we have to go into the game good and well prepared.
Specifically with the Virtus Pro match, we didn't get to do a post-match interview after that one. Did you guys identify any one thing that was going wrong, or did Virtus Pro just gain too much momentum?
Well, we were up to 14-7, and you could just see that one round can decide the game. And we lost one stupid round. I think it was Eco, and we just completely lost mentally. And going into train, it was complete lose.
I saw a lot of people hoping for a rematch to see Navi versus Virtus Pro in the Grand Finals. Do you hope to play Virtus Pro in the Grand Finals, or who would you like to play if you get there?
Of course, we want to play Virtus Pro because they beat us a lot of times in a row, and yeah, we want to get our revenge.
And finally, I got to ask you, up next on the main stage, we're going to see the Battle of North American Squads, Cloud9, CLG, after watching both teams throughout the weekend. What do you think is about to happen here on the main stage? Who's going to take it?
Well, for me, it's 50-50, but I would say Cloud9 are a bit better. But yeah, it depends on maps and about who's going to make more mistakes.
And if CLG is going to take the win over Cloud9, who do you think is going to be the player to watch?
I would say on CLG it will be Tarek, and on Cloud9 it will be Skadoodle.
Tarek and Skadoodle, the 2 players to watch. Guardian, I'm going to let you rest, buddy. A big championship Sunday coming up tomorrow. Navi versus Mouse Sports. After the commercial break, though, guys, we have the final match of the night. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
All right, folks, welcome back to the MLG Arena. The last match of the night. See who's going to come out. Number 2, Group A, for CEVO. Season 7 LAN Finals. We got Cloud9 taking on CLG again. They played last night. They were our last match last night. That was a win by Cloud9, 2-0. And they played Cobble and they played Cash.
Yep. I think just going right into the match, I think CLG definitely had some kind of an advantage going into Cash. Like, that was their second map. They got pretty throttled the first map. I think something that, as we mentioned earlier about Cloud9, when a team just kind of finds something that works against Cloud9, and they keep doing it over and over again, it seems like that just is always successful. It seems like Cloud9 doesn't really have a way to kind of adapt fast enough. And we see teams just, again, they find something that works and they just keep doing it over and over and over again. I think CLG went A on Cash on their T side like 10 rounds in a row, and they won all 10 rounds.
People always hype when Cloud9 has an amazing win, especially over a big European team, Fnatic, whoever it might be, Envious. When they beat these teams or they win a map off the top teams, people are always like, oh, if you listen to the comms, Sean Gares knew exactly where they would be. He'd watched the demo, he was calling spots out like, that guy will be in that smoke, shoot it. That suggests that if you give him prep, that's what makes his reading ability amazing. He has to know what you're doing and then guess from what's happening. The problem is, that's a very different skill from adapting to something that's happening now. He knows something's happening, he knows something's going wrong. Doesn't mean he knows specifically where the guy is that triggers that, or what the sign is that warns him that this is going to happen again. And you saw, he's had a real problem in this tournament particularly, countering things that happened that are unexpected. And of course, when you're playing a team like CLG especially, they don't have their in-game leader. They're playing a totally different style. They're using a totally different player as the in-game leader, one of the other members. And so you're not going to have the info on them in that scenario. So I think this is going to be an interesting test for this series. Like, can Sean Gares overcome that? Would he win anyway? Was that just a couple of series that were bad days, you know, like a bad end to the day, bad beginning today? Or is this going to actually be a thread going forwards? Like, hey, we know if he has a lot of time and he has the demos and it's a team with a lot to scout, that makes up the difference. Because without that, maybe Cloud9 isn't a world beater like we thought. Who knows? I mean, they got reasonably convincingly beaten by Mouse Sports in the upper bracket.
Yeah, also if you compare just the playstyle of FNS, who was the in-game leader for CLG, who's not here, and my teammate Sinks, they're two different playstyles. FNS is like their lurker. FNS calls their shots kind of like happy, whereas Sinks, he's being used as like their entry fragger. So they have like a weird dynamic here where, obviously, as you said, Cloud9 cannot counter them at all. It's going to be like a lot of on-the-fly stuff, a lot of mid-round kind of decisions where Cloud9 is not going to be prepared for a lot of things that happen. And as we saw yesterday on Cash, it ended up biting Cloud9. I mean, they were up 13-2 going into the second half, and CLG was able to take it back to overtime.
I mean, we saw two key maps where this happened. There was the Cash game yesterday, obviously the two teams playing now. 13 T rounds by Cloud9. Still narrowly managed to get it to overtime where they won. Otherwise, they would have given up 14 T rounds. Then today on Dust 2, 10 T rounds on Dust 2. Awesome, that's enough. You've done enough now. Cruise on the second half. They couldn't. Again, victory for Mouse Sports. Run over on their CT side for Cloud9. Couldn't figure out answers where they were going to get that one key round from to put them closer. There's something wrong with Cloud9 at the moment. Now maybe it rights itself. I think that's going to be one of the narratives for this series. Because if they come out now and just blow them away, 16-5, 16-6, whatever the maps are, then you're going to be like, okay, we can forget about some of that now. They're back. They figured it out, and now they're going to go into a strong series against Virtus Pro, hopefully.
All right, here we go.
Now, if I'm Cloud9, just from what happened yesterday and then today on Cash, just don't play it.
Yeah,
Listen, we've seen you
absolutely.
can play the other maps. You can play Dust 2, you can play Mirage, Overpass, Cobbles. Just play something else.
Yeah, and a reminder for folks at home, the first map they played last night was Cobble. That was a 16-10 victory for Cloud9, and then Cloud9 also won Cash, much closer. That one went into the overtime, right? And that ended up being 19-17, I believe.
If CLG don't ban Cobble, after the way it went yesterday, especially the way Skadoodle was wrecking JDM in a straight-up fight, I'm just picking Cobble first. I'm going to go with that again. That's one I do want.
I mean, we talked about it yesterday. Cloud9 definitely more prepared, definitely have strategies. You expect them to play the customs, and you expect CLG to try and eliminate as many customs as they can.
So, okay, interesting there that CLG actually chooses to eliminate Inferno. That's a strange one, but they get to pick Dust 2. Good pick for them, I think. That's the right one, especially add in what they've just seen from Mouse Sports versus Cloud9 today.
Also, Cloud9 drops Mirage. Again, CLG is known in the US for having one of the best Mirages. That is definitely their favorite map, their home map, so not a surprise that Cloud9
I feel like it's
it.
actually, I actually think now it's going to be Cobble or Train. I would go with Cobble again myself, but I think maybe they'll gamble Train. I know I'd like to play that against a team that doesn't have a proper in-game leader.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that CLG, no in-game leader, T-side Train, You know, even though they get to start CT, when they do get to T, it's going to be just so hard for them.
That should be the map where there's the biggest disparity to be in, where Cloud9 is a prepared team now, and the other team can be as a pod. That's the other thing. It's one thing to have a stand-in. Even with a stand-in, you're not going to be as good, and you're not going to have the same routine, but without your in-game leader, that throws everything off. But they're thinking a long time here. Like, you can look at Sean Guess here.
Yeah, he's thinking.
He's talking, he's thinking.
I would think Overpass also should be a good map for Cloud9. Like, Overpass is a hard map to pug as well. I don't think CLG would have a lot of stuff. They probably don't know who knows what smokes. They get no in-game leader, a hard map to kind of play on the fly. And against a team like Cloud9, who we've seen play Overpass a lot, I wouldn't even be surprised about an Overpass pick.
But the thing is, what would be interesting now is, what if they're discussing, like, can we pick Cash? Can we do it? Does it matter what happened before? Like, will it be okay this time?
Why would you?
Because it's taken a long time. That's the thing. You'd think if it was a simple figuring out, they do.
Yeah, they pick
see,
Cash.
That's why they were discussing for so long, because they know the last two Cashes have been real problems for them.
Yeah.
And obviously real problems on T. Well, they had great T side the first time, terrible T side the second time. But hey, they've done it, and they've gotten lucky here because it's going to be train third map. Now that's pretty much the dream third map that could have been selected there. So I think this has gone very well actually for Cloud9.
I think it's good for CLG though as well. Like, in terms of the maps that were there, the fact that they get to play both Dust 2 and Cash, which are like the American home maps, and the maps that every American gets to pug a lot, CLG should be able to at least put up a fight on both Dust 2 and obviously Cash, as we saw
But here's the
yesterday.
interesting thing. We've seen today, Mousesports came in there, Dust 2 Cash, beat them on, beat Cloud9 on their two home maps. The first two maps, we're definitely going to get to see both of those maps again. Against, in theory, lesser competition, who doesn't have a proper in-game, not a world-class team. So if Cloud9, if this even goes to 3 maps, it's going to make a statement about Cloud9, that their strength's not at the level of that team who are going to finals before. I'm confused, actually, because on one hand, I could see this being a 3-map war, actually. These first two maps, I think both will be pretty hotly contesting, so I could see it going 3. If it goes 3, I'm pretty certain Cloud9's going to win train, so I have to say, I think they'll take it 2-1. But with that said, there's a part of me always wondered in this sense, like, am I just thinking that because of the games I saw this morning and then that last map last night? Maybe it resets to what it was yesterday before they played. Maybe all that turns out to mean nothing. Cloud9 is back to the best. CLG is the team that's a pog without the proper in-game lead, and it's just a clean 2-0. What are you feeling?
I would think that CLG... I'm going to agree with you. It's going to probably be 2-1 Cloud9. Like, if it goes to a third map, it's almost definitely going Cloud9's way. CLG, if they're going to win, they need to do in the first 2.
Yeah, I think that's the only possibility for them.
And seeing how Cloud9 played earlier today, CLG obviously won a match today, and Cloud9 lost their match today.
Yeah.
I'm going to go against you. I'm going to say, actually, CLG in 2.
CLG in 2, okay. So in that case, we must be talking about some monster JDM performance.
Yes, absolutely.
And that was my next question, Skadoodle versus JDM.
Yeah, which, by the way, yesterday, before the series started, if you'd said that, Skadoodle versus JDM, I'd go no contest. Yeah. JDM's good for an American. Skadoodle is just a world-class AWPer. And obviously it was no contest on Cobble. He was just owning him. He consistently beat up JDM, basically made JDM look foolish, like unable to even do anything, wasting money economically. I don't think they used JDM particularly well. You shouldn't really have him entering with your AWP in that scenario. But after what we've seen since then, how well they did in the lower bracket, I think that's actually going to suddenly be a viable matchup potentially. Or at least this is where, if JDM has a good match series here, he cements himself as like, okay, maybe actually there is some discussion to be had there over how good the NA AWPers are. It's not just Skadoodle on this pedestal and everyone else down below.
Right. I mean, they also have Sanks too, who for my team is like our main AWPer. So even if JDM is not hitting his AWP shots, which, I mean, we talked about yesterday how JDM might not have the best rifles, they still have Sanks where if they want to do the double AWP setup, they could do that. Now, even with that being said, yesterday Tarek was actually AWPing with JDM. So I guess we'll have to see.
If Cloud9's going to lose in 2 though, is there someone from Cloud9's going to underperform, or is just not going to come with the level? Do you have a sense, like, I don't know where this guy is right now?
I felt like Shroud was the one underperforming earlier. Like, Shroud and Jordan both did not play their normal game. And obviously we saw Skadoodle play, a little bit under his normal level earlier today. But comparing him to yesterday, I feel like this is the team where he will go off on. But I think JDM is going to come back strong today.
I mean, what's crazy is you also have to go right back to the beginning of the conversation. I have to say one guguy who's really underperformed today is Sean Gares.
Yeah.
This day so far has been a nightmare for Sean. He hasn't had answers. You've even heard him in comments like, I don't know what to do. You don't want to hear that from a guy who's like a mastermind guy who reads the game. Now, admittedly, that was against God B. That's a very different scenario here. That's another guy who can go head-to-head with you and who's trying to mess with you and trying to make you think one thing. Then that's not going to be the case for CLG. They're not even thinking that way. They're just going to play. They're going to try and pug it out. They're going to try and win situations and just make favorable scenarios for themselves. So it shouldn't be as much pressure. Sean should hopefully be able to reassert himself. But I actually think just from what we saw today and the last map yesterday, it's not inconceivable CLG could win. I just don't think it would, especially because I think at worst, Cloud9, even if they underperform, they'll drag it to 3. And if they do get to 3, I feel like Train has to be theirs. That one is no question for me. But Dust2 and Cash, particularly Cash because of the weakness they've showed, I think Cash can definitely go over to CLG if things go the right way.
Are you nervous about your teammate becoming your ex-teammate and joining this team full-time?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think, like, we were talking about this earlier, or yesterday, like, CLG is the team that has been friends forever. Like, they've never made, they made a roster change from JDM to PTR, but then they went back to JDM. I can't see them actually making a roster change again, and especially, like, these guys have been playing together since, like, the 1.6 days, like, very, very early in CSGO. So for them to make a roster change, like, there's no doubt they're playing very, very well here. I mean, making it to the lower bracket finals and playing against Cloud9 again. And I mean, I guess imagine if they do go on and they do end up making the playoffs. Like,
but isn't that the problem though? Think of this. I'll paint you what's not a ridiculous alternative world here, okay? Let's say somehow they pull off the upset. They beat Cloud9 here. Okay, they play Virtus Pro, they lose there in this scenario. Next week, let's say Finesse still hasn't got his visa, so they have to take Sanks again, and they take him to the qualifier, something like that. They take someone to the qualifier as their 5th player. They go there, they qualify for the major. In that world, hey, maybe they do make the change now. 2 really good results, big upset here. That's the problem. You can always say when it's like standard business as usual, no, we'd never change that guy, unless we get along really well. When you suddenly have like results you've just never had before, and everything looks like, wow, how can I not keep with this lineup? That's when it's one of those things where you can't really know what you do until you actually were put in that situation. And you had that weighing on your mind, like, well, if we get rid of him, then we go back to the way it was before, and can we reach this level? And maybe we had like some really good initial chemistry. That's where it gets tempting. I'm with you though. I think if Finesse can figure out the visa thing and he comes back, they probably do just go back to that. I mean, they probably don't win the series here, but that's good. It's going to be interesting because if they do, then that question becomes much more pressing rather than just like a fun hypothetical for right now.
Yeah.
Remember earlier on, okay, just a quick point. When we had this exact view earlier on when they were playing mouse sports, you remember that timeout? No one speaking. Sean, he wasn't even the general. He didn't have any notes for anyone. He wasn't like, oh, does anyone have any? There was no discussion whatsoever. Hopefully, we're going to see a different Cloud9 today. At least one thing I hope for is let's have some tactical timeouts, proper tactical timeouts. If things are going badly, listen, remember on their T side against mouse sports, they were down like 2-8 at one point in time. Take a timeout then. Take the 5 minutes, figure out what you want to do. Get some feedback from people. Then it's really dangerous to try and play through complete dry spells out because you can just throw away 5 rounds before you really thought about what was going wrong with it. And Cloud9 in general hasn't really used the tactical time at this tournament.
Right.
Well, they called it the one time, but it was ineffective. Yeah. So let's go back to Cutler a little bit. I know he's a stand-in in-game leader, but any chance that becomes more of a permanent role and like maybe move FNS around, or does that not make sense?
I mean, we saw Cutler yesterday op. We saw him entering. We saw him on CT side opping even more than he was rifling, which is a little bit weird. I mean, I guess it's a good thing because he was able to play very well with it, but also like historically, Cutler has always been like their solo site player, you know, really holds down their rushes, gets like 2 or 3 spray down kills, and now he's able to in-game lead, and he's also opping. So, you know, like, as we were saying, this is a different dynamic than this team's ever had, and it seems like it's working better than any of their dynamics before.
Anything to add to that for Cutler?
Yeah, the thing is, he just was nothing like the normal Cutler. He's like the most stable guy in their team. You know exactly what you're going to get from him. He's going to play those passive spots. He's going to have the Colt in his hand. You have a sense what sort of kills. He'll be like medium range on people, trying to listen to his teammates, trying to team play off them. But yeah, he was doing the whole gamut there. That's actually one of the interesting things about it. The idea is he didn't just slide into FNS spot and go, oh, I'll just be the in-game leader. He sort of realized, listen, we're a pug, so I'm like a supportive player within my team. I've got to fill in the holes here. I've got to do a bit of this over here, a bit of this over there. I have to say, like a key for me, like I said, was the reason the Cobble game that they had against Cloud9 was unconvincing was just the idea that they were walking in 1-by-1 on terrace. They were sending JDM on his own to take peeks versus people. They weren't like facilitating AWPing. They weren't having a guy go out first. Like think about Kenny S when he was on Titan, they'd have someone jump out first that you shoot at, and then he gets the trade kill onto you and has no chance of being killed there. He has someone pop flash for him. They didn't have these things. Now, part of that's being a pug, but if they want to beat Cloud9 of us 3, I feel like they have to have that. They have to have at least some semblance of team play there. So someone like Cutler can make a huge difference if he just focuses on getting his stars rolling in that sense. And actually, Tarek was a bit quiet yesterday as well.
Well, you saw Tarek also op. Like, so you had Cutler opping, you had Tarek opping, and it was just really weird.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. The first map. #1 team in North America, Cloud9, taking on the #2, maybe #3 team in the North America, CLG. First map, you see it, our favorite, Dust 2. This time bringing you the action. Landers and Helium, take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. How fitting to have the North American teams facing off on Dust 2 and then Cash. It's the proving grounds for these guys. And some interesting predictions there on the desk. Nico thinking CLG could take this 2-0, but into the pistol right now, we do have that Xbox smoke down. Freakazoid moving up, trying to find that entry here. It looks like Cutler got lit up, and he will be dropping back. And Freak gets it. He finds him. He'll bring him out of the round. And the man advantage for Cloud9. JDM with that Molotov, but taken out from the other side. Sean Garris gets him. Tarek trying to go on that flank, but 3v5, it's going to be very, very difficult. Sinks does have a kit. They'll get that flash across. No one playing so aggressive for Cloud9. Where are the post-plant spots? They've actually went towards long. That's where Shroud finds this kill. Sean Garris back over towards the site, and now it is Sinks all by himself, and they're just pushing him down. Going to set the tone of the match early on.
Yeah, they really got away with that A split extremely quickly. Just went straight up. Obviously, Free cleared out Cat by himself. He hit his headshot. Sean Garris got a kill for himself, and they crushed A just like that. 3 players on a retake through CT is like really unfavorable, so they couldn't find a good way to pull that off, and because their A players couldn't trade out or even delay, they really had no opportunity to win the round.
All right, so coming into this one, will we see? We've seen a lot of poor money management actually from a lot of teams here today. It looks like not going for the force here, just a Deagle, a flash, and a P250 there for Tarek. And I know they were saying that Tarek didn't really show up yesterday, but earlier against Team Liquid, he actually had a solid performance in all 3 of the maps. Here comes Cloud9 storming out onto that B site. CLG all at A right now, and we see them making that rotation over, but they're really not going to be able to do anything from this position.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting decision to not force up with armor and pistols. It's something you don't see typically. Dusty is a very favorable map for a team that wants to maybe try and pull off that force buy. Now, the thing is that Hayes actually bought a Deagle, so that puts him down to 800, and that might leave his money in kind of a precarious spot. He's not going to have as much money as his teammates who are full saving or just buying P250s, and that's going to affect his buy going into the next round. Now, a couple of kills that come out while
USP best pistol, apparently.
Yeah, apparently you don't need to spend that extra 800.
Oh, not even worried about it. So they will try to save. They save what? 2 MP7s, so that's going to be kind of nice, but I don't know. Maybe a small chance for something to happen on this map, but you're going to have the rifles coming out from Shroud, Freak, and Sean Garris buying up his there. So what do we got? What is CLG going to try to pull out here? Will they do another gamble stack? Will they set up for the default? It looks like a heavy CT presence here. So hoping for a mid-split from Cloud9.
Yeah, they actually opted not to get armor behind their MP7s, which I guess is understandable because they do need to keep the money at a certain point for next round. Now, Cloud9, knowing that it is going to be another full save or at least just a regular buy-up behind the MP7s, a couple of flashes to complement these weapons, have tried not to buy AKs. Sean Garris is the only one with an AK. And so they can afford to lose a couple of players here. Actually getting out long so far, and unbeknownst to CLG, who get caught off guards, Cutler goes down immediately, and that leaves Hayes in CT to defend the entirety of A site by himself.
I mean, all of CLG right now forced to try to come back up through that smoke from CT. I already mentioned in the last round how it's not the favorable position for the retake. Maybe one of them could have got up to Cap, but Shroud's over here at the double door, shutting that completely down. He sees the flash come out. He knows Sinks is there, and he gets him through the corner of the box. But on to round 4. Can CLG do something to turn this around with their rifles?
Yeah, I mean, they obviously feel confident at this point. Now, JDM, as you mentioned, you said that you casted a match, or the CLG match, CLG versus Liquid.
CLG Liquid match.
JDM was playing lights out.
He was, although Team Liquid were kind of going one by one. They were giving him a lot. He was playing Car here on Dust 2, opping up the catwalk, and there were not smokes or flashes to try to just, disrupt JDM's opping at all, and he was just hitting his shots. So he definitely had a warm-up earlier. That is for sure. Cloud9 storming their way out of long. Shroud one, Cutler the other. We've got a 4-on-4, and Shroud's actually pretty low, down to 35 HP.
Yeah, now, so this he answered up with this long take, was answered back by CLG. It's actually been a trade 1-for-1, which is going to favor Cloud9 apart from the damage that Shroud's taken. But since they have him here, they can escort Shroud into pit. Now there's a player in lower haze. He goes down. JDM answers back, though, and now I'm not so sure.
Yeah, nice shot there from Car. He was, his long was out of his control. He had nowhere to go. He was kind of stuck in the corner, but he turns, he gets that shot.
It looks like they're congregating back towards mid, and because they're giving up Blum, I'm going to assume that they are either going to want a mid to B or just straight up go through tunnels. If not, just go through Cat and hope that they've pulled both rotators, but I don't think that's
Cutler goes for the peek. Skadoodle, though, will miss it as Cutler just kind of strafes across there. And Skadoodle going to try to get aggressive on this. Doesn't look like he'll give him an opportunity. Sean Garris will sit by the Xbox and wait, and there he goes. He takes out Cutler. Now it all falls onto Tarek here, and at this position, I mean, no kit. Might as well just save here or try to set up for some exits, perhaps. Maybe get that op if he can find Skadoodle.
Yeah, that was kind of awkward of long there. JDM died while we were talking, but he was just at Car, got his first frag, and kind of made that long split, or that A split, a little bit harder to actually execute. But then he just died as he was pushed off of Car. I guess he didn't assume, he assumed that everyone fell off of the long, but Shroud was actually still in pit. But if he had managed to stay alive there, his presence alone would have made that a lot more difficult. Now Tarek picks up his op, is going to be sitting in pit with it, and he can save this. Skadoodle is going to also have an op in his hands, but so far it's looking like a really good start for Cloud9.
I wonder what they'll try to do, if they'll post that op up and support behind it with some pistols, or maybe they'll have JDM attempt to anchor his sight and stack the pistols into another one, because the money is, I mean, you've lost 3 in a row right now, some more money coming in because of that loss bonus, but still on the more expensive side, it's not really enough to do anything with it. I don't know, you're up at the 3K mark. You could maybe force him behind this, but I wouldn't really recommend it. Getting obviously a poor start already, but then destroying your economy, if they don't win it, could be very detrimental.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a buy save situation. JDM,
he gets it.
Head blown off by Skadoodle trying to jump across the door. Absolutely no chance. And now Tarek is going to be rotating over towards B. He's going to recycle this op and look for a peek here. He has been known to hybrid, but gets taken down by the P90 of Freakazoid. And now there are 3 players left alone. That op might have been dropped in sight and might not be able to be.
I don't know if they can retrieve it.
Scavenged.
Hard to tell with the smokes that are down. Cutler trying to work his way in, but he probably thought he had jumped up, but he was still just on the ground. Can't see anything. Freakazoid thinking about going out. There's a flash. Window player is going to go down, and Freakazoid will grab Hayes to his behind the box. Sanks now at doors. Sanks has really impressed me with his P250 work. CLG won so many just actually full eco in the CSGO sense, where you've bought P250s.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
But he got so many good close angles. And another round for Cloud9 as the crowd is.
Looks like people are cheering for America.
Yeah, hard not to in this matchup, right?
Yeah, definitely feel that. So now it's that's what happens, right? You win the pistol, you win the first rifle. It's 5-0. You don't get eco. There was no force buys to have to deal with. That's smooth sailing. You've had a great start to your first half. Now it looks like nothing is running down middle here, and I wonder if he's actually going to go through the doors. He is going to lurk out right through the smoke, and JDM, too aware, is going to be waiting for him, and there are also going to be 3 players in the site here in B, but because nothing died at mid, they're going to cancel that strategy, and they have a player at long, Skadoodle, who's going to maintain presence on the other side of the map.
Yeah, he was going for the op shot there. He could only wait in a Molotov that was thrown to kind of dissuade it for so long, so even he's kind of backed off. So not able to get control anywhere. The heroics from nothing, failed, and like you said, that B split was canceled. JDM, second kill of the round, taking down both Skadoodle and nothing at this point, and it looks like CLG might have found their round. Still a minute to play with, though. Let's see what the 3 men up for Cloud9.
It can be so easy that early in the round to lose focus on your spot, especially if you don't think someone's going to run out mid like that. And good on JDM for being aware, but here we have Sean Garris flashed out with the op, is trying to cross Cat at this moment. Cutler's going to take a couple shots and sees the op right now, so now they got to deal with this Cat split, or actually just full-on Cat play.
Molotov's still burning him through that. Does he realize it? Got him down to half HP there. That was Cutler, but Tarek now just taking these shots, the shooting gallery as they come across. Now it is just Sean Garris with 14 HP and op, and there it is, Cutler finding him. 2K for JDM to start things off. 2K for Tarek, and Cutler closing it out.
Clean round overall. Everybody staying alive is enormous. Now, even though there's a rule of thumb where if you win 5, or you lose 5, you win 1, you lose 1, you're broke. In this situation, because they kept all 5 players alive, that means that there's going to be a rebuy for next round, even if they lose this one. So that is the benefit of winning the round as decisively as they did. And that's going to give them options moving forward. But beyond that, they're going to want to string together more than 1 round just for the sake of having them, as they're already at a 4-round deficit.
So CLG pulling out the double ops already.
Yeah.
They've got that money up. This is a very expensive round, even with having kept everyone alive. They pulled this off against Team Liquid, and they were actually down 7 rounds on Dust 2 against Team Liquid in the earlier series. They finally won a round, transitioned into this double op, and they won 12 in a row, made the comeback and won Dust 2 as the 3rd map. So it was actually very impressive, their C2 defense. And we can see actually JDM over at Car, he's pretty much always going to be there. And Sean Garris, if he's done the prep work, it's an NA team, he knows them. He's going to know JDM's there. Yep. And Tarek over at B up in that window.
Yeah, we have the old Dignitas setup where you have 3 players at A, but focus on long here. 2 players inside of the B site. JDM obviously opping Markelov seems to be the most popular spot to stage your op up if you have one. And he was over at mid, so this might throw them through a loop as he is in a new position. It's always good to have your op moving around as we're seeing now. And Cloud9 aren't spotting anything at mid. Sean Garris is actually just creeping out middle. Might look for a pick before they try to do anything else.
Sean Garris going to get flashed, looks like. Cloud9 trying to throw these CT smokes from that catwalk and jump down. Sean Garris actually is going to move out and find the entry there himself. His time is getting very, very low. They have to go B. Tarek gets 1 shot. Scudoodle, though, immediately on the trade out. 4-on-3 now, advantage Cloud9. Getting into the site with 10 seconds to spare. 3.5 to plant, so more than enough time, right?
So they did just play Na'Vi. Might be feeling inspired to take the tempo down a notch. And Shroud also finding a rotator kill on Cutler. That's going to secure the round. If Tarek was able to stay alive, him getting that pick was almost necessary. Wow, Shroud, nice shot there. They would have had a much harder time actually getting to the site, but it was really necessary for, I think, Tarek to take that fight, because it was a matter of Scudoodle having good pacing, or good spacing there, I should say, to get that trade really easily in window. So that's what locked it up. But nice lurk out mid from Sean Garris.
Yeah, Sean Garris stepping up and just hitting that entry himself. I guess Freakazoid wasn't available, and that double op setup that I hyped up for CLG just fell apart in the first time that they used it. And that was a slow round, right? Like a minute and 20 seconds ticked off the round clock before even a player of the other team was spotted.
Right.
So extremely slow there. And we'll see now Cloud9 probably expecting the pistols to come out after experiencing the double ops. We'll quicken the pace a bit more here. They're already out catwalk. They're onto that A side. Cutler is close, can maybe do some damage, maybe 1 kill here with that CZ, maybe another, and yeah, it seems probably had already shot the 12 bullets at that point. Freakazoid brings him down. Sean Garris now finding Hayes. Tarek jumping up, trying to get a random jumping headshot with that one. A kind of unique pop flash, actually very effective. He's pushed that smoke blind himself though, so he didn't see that player who crouched behind the box. Now 4-on-2.
Yeah, actually a bit of miscalculation on my part. Now instead of them having the double save, however, they'll only have to save 1. And so that is their saving grace in this situation. Saxington is going to be going up against a couple players here who are kind of hurt. Actually does take 1 down. Nothing Sean Garris. We're about to blow over, but that's Cloud9 up to a very dominant lead. 7-1 right now. Looking great in this half, but it's almost very similar to the half, or to the starts of the half that we saw versus Mouse. I think it was pretty much an identical scoreline, so I wouldn't say it's over until it's over.
Yeah, and CLG also did, like I said, make that comeback against Team Liquid. Cloud9, though, is obviously quite a different animal to deal with. So we'll see if they can try to make that adjustment. Once again, setting up for kind of 2 towards B, 3 at A defense right now. JDM, of course, going to be at that car position. It's like fighting for long control. They'll deposit a player. That's Cutler into the pit. Shroud, though, coming out, finds JDM, so he just outpicks the op.
Yeah, now we have 2 players holding long, and they're really just waiting for a retake situation. If it is the case that C9 decide to go up cat. Sean Garris, however, has lurked out middle, and there's a couple players pushing into B separated from their team. Freak does find a kill there, but will it be worthwhile? It's actually 3v2 in this situation. And now they have a lot of options, but
a little 1v1 at the B side. And Tarek will win it. So that actually brought it to a 2-on-2. I mean, tons of time. Sean Garris really needed to take that battle by himself. And you know that Tarek's in there, right? Just battle the star player real quick, 1v1. Got to wonder about it. But now 2-on-2. Tarek will go down to Skadoodle. Cutler's still quite far away from the action. The bomb going to go down. Not a great plant, but it doesn't look like they're going to venture too far. Close to the door and one back plant, so it'll work for them. Cutler going in now, hot flashing through, and he gets one, a nice little 180, but Shroud is there.
Yeah, Cutler had a little bit of utility there, but in that 1v2 where they kind of knew he was coming for mid, it was going to be a tough retake. Either way, Cloud9 sealed it up, but I think I was going to compliment how loose they were playing. Like they had Shroud walk up Cat, and he found a pick on JDM, who was going to come back and off Cat at a passive angle and got caught off guard because Shroud had lurked up so quickly because Cat they keep giving up control of Cat pretty much every single round.
Oh,
wow,
my
dude.
Gosh.
Oh my
He
goodness.
was all over that. Tarek took like a really close to the door approach too, and now Shroud just running out. And keep in mind, it is just pistols, no armor here for CLG. Didn't matter for the op shot.
No,
that wouldn't have
style
changed
points.
Regardless. But for Shroud moving out, his 2 kills don't count.
Yeah.
Sorry, Shroud.
Yeah, I mean, he hit that shot so many times. I mean, it could have just been part of the strat.
Yo, hit the shot.
Hit the shot.
Take the shot.
Just do it.
Shoot the J, and I'm out. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's just yeah. So one thing we're seeing from CLG is cat control is almost always being given up.
Yes.
JDM hasn't once opted from Brick at all. He's almost always been at long or at mid on the first round that he was opping. And apart from that, it seems like CLG are adamant at controlling long. Cloud9 don't have a problem giving that up because they're loving mid control until the CT setup is not sufficient. Or not conducive to the play style that Cloud9 is trying to impose on them. Once you give them mid control, Cloud9 know what to do with it. Sean Garrett is not afraid to lurk out mid. Shroud is not afraid to go up cat. And if you give them both options, one of them's going to find a kill, and that's what we saw on the last rifle round.
Well, if they realize what's going on, which they probably should, JDM is probably telling them, I'm losing this battle every time. Solution's easy. Just have JDM play in the site. He can spot down long, and you put your 2 players on the catwalk. And if you give up A, as a CT, retaking from catwalk is going to be so much better than trying to run up long where there is no cover.
Yeah.
We saw them try to attempt the retake from long a few times, and it hasn't worked out. Cloud9 now with 9 rounds.
Okay. See, they keep going for long control, and it's kind of like a gambler's fallacy on the part of CLG, who assume eventually they have to go long. But the thing is, they're actually correct. Sanks with a huge spray down, gets a couple of layers. Freakazoid super low, gets Sank down to 3 HP, and that is a setup that has worked.
Let's see, Freakazoid still at that blue bin though. Cutler will find him. Does take still a considerable amount of damage. Skadoodle, we've seen him win some rounds, but a 1v4 here from this situation. At least he does have the bomb. Let's see if he can do it or start this off. He's got one coming close, one of course far away, and before either of them will give him the peek, he gets brought down from the other direction.
Yep, and I think I don't know if that means much. You know, it's 4 rounds in a row. Again, the economy of CLG is a loss away from putting them on a double save, putting them in a really awkward position where there's only 4 rounds total left to play out in the half, and if they don't win this round, then they're gonna have to save for 2 out of 3.
So they have adjusted here. JDM has pushed out Cat, actually. Again, back to the double op setup, but using it very differently. Tarek now on mid, JDM on the catwalk, looking into lower B. So they have changed the approach quite dramatically. Still, though, heavy on long with 2 players there. They'll leave Sanks in the pit. And Cloud9 taking this one slow. Nothing just up to his usual, kind of lurking towards that lower B area as the rest of the team works on mid control and watches that flank.
Yeah, there we have JDM pushed up on Cat with that op. He took an aggressive peek, and
yeah, he's falling back now.
Yeah, that could be enough. You know, a scuff for information. It stops the early lurk from coming out. They actually throw a smoke down, and so he can fall off to a more passive angle now, but with confidence instead of having to re-peek it late after taking long control. So that's a bonus for him, but it looks like Cloud9 want to take long late, and that actually might favor CLG, who have some type of crossfire going on right now.
Yeah, towards long once more. Sanks had a good performance from that in the last round. But I'm worried that CLG have just fallen back into their same old, which has not been working. And now Freakazoid's going to hit that entry, that one as well, because the shot is not there. JDM takes one and misses. Cutler, though, going to maybe make a stand here. He's got one, but again, not a great position to hold on, and that's why. You're just stuck with people coming along and the catwalk. Nothing just takes him down from behind.
Yeah.
And 4-on-2 now, advantage, Cloud9.
It was
what a toss.
Yeah, it was the late long control setup. It played kind of into the hand of CLG, who, you know, typically a team will watch long and then they'll give it up at a certain point because late long is one of the least likely possibilities, considering how far back it is. If it's not in the strategy out the gate, then you're most likely not going to have to go up against it later in the round. So, but for them, they had a player in pit, and they had JDM really close to help them. The long control smoke came out to neutralize JDM, and then they jumped in pit immediately and dealt with the crossfire that way. It ended up working out beautifully, and it's almost as if they had the setup, but they didn't have the patience.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really hold that forever, though, can you? Like, push so aggressive up on that catwalk as an offer.
Oh,
at some point.
No, I mean, like, them going for long control was a great idea, right? But even when they came long, they weren't prepared for it mentally, I feel like.
Yeah, they were way down in the pit. Like, you're not shooting anybody from there, and Freakazoid just wins. He just goes to check the spot, and someone's there, and he hits the shot. So.
Yeah, and it was right as JDM was about to leave, so he doesn't have his back. And yeah, that's what it spells for CLG. 2 rounds, forced by here. Sanks only with the 5-7. And early mid control being taken by Tarek. He's going to take the first fight with Freakazoid and wins it. Pushed all the way up mid, and now he can fall off. They've got 5v4. This is one of the only rounds that they've ever gotten an opening pick. And as long as they play their cards right, that means they should win the round.
Yeah. All right. See what Sean Garris can cook up here. See if he can't find the ingredient. Hayes, Tarek out towards B. So mid is giving up. Tarek, I guess, will be the man here in B to switch around. Skadoodle thinking about going in, but now the smoke's going to stop Cloud9 in their tracks. So everyone in B. If Sanks, I don't know, he's playing close door. I don't know if we'll push long for information, but here it comes. Cloud9 coming out. Shroud with 1. Tarek answering right back, but Shroud gets him as well. So 3-on-3, but CLG, all of them on the other side of the map. And Shroud to get the bomb down here in the default plant.
Yeah, they've got very little chance to win this round. Like Tunnels is being taken control of. Skadoodle has an op in the site. He can just spot window as Shroud sits on the bomb and watch the door. It's going to be a very difficult retake, and there is the tunnel rotator, so that might be all she wrote for this round. But
JDM going to try for it here, and oh my gosh, Skadoodle is probably sitting with his crosshair there for the last 20 seconds. Brings out JDM instantly. Color, though, does find one. Shroud looks to get a little bit aggressive, trying to kill that CT that might even be, you know, running away with a knife out towards CT at that point. But now Cutler will find 1 frag, and he'll bring an AK, armor, and defuse into the next round. Now let's look at the money for the rest of that team. It's not too great. Actually, it's rather terrible.
No, it's horrible. Yeah, this glass is like 10% full right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, JDM is going to have an op. Didn't they just pick up an AK? Did Cutler actually find an op?
Oh, he might have found an op right at the end.
Oh,
yeah.
he just
had
found
an AK,
op,
and then he found even a better selection there and took out the op.
Yeah, that's a pretty good find. Now, it looks like Shroud is going to take a peek at long. Will he find any kills for it? No, JDM comes in for the trade. And there are 2 more players outside of long. It seems like Cloud9, whenever they want to take long, it's never a good idea, but they always end up executing it properly anyway and winning the duels. Will they pay for it this time? No, Skadoodle comes out and wins the duel versus JDM.
Still 2 people here. Are they going to expect this? I don't know if they've run into 3. Cutler going to pop flash, and you barely have enough time to pull that CZ out. And let's see, 1 player still in pit. It's going to be Sanks. What can he do here? Grenade going down, forces him back into the pit. Another one. That's only 2 damage, though, and a flash. Sanks getting so much stuff thrown at him right now. Can he get out with that 5-7, find 1 more kill? No, but Hayes actually with the deagle does find 1, and he brought down nothing, so there's a 2v2 situation. And once again, that bomb going out towards B.
Yeah, and it looks like Freak is going to hang out at mid, and Skadoodle's like, we'll rendezvous at B. You catch rotators, and that's going to be the best course of action.
Catch Skadoodle, or Freakazoid, though, sorry.
Yeah,
if he checks down, sometimes you won't. You'll get lazy, and you'll forget.
Oh.
Here's the reload. Now he knows, and the footsteps, of course.
And he's going to save.
Yeah.
Salt in the wounds.
Definitely. So now Sanks all alone, just kind of posting up. Maybe find 1 more frag, but once again, saving that op. So try to keep JDM, you know, at least on point with the op.
Yeah, that's something. And again, you know, some of the times CLG have been right. It's been long control that Cloud9 want to take. In spite of that, Cloud9 have been able to take it.
Yeah, even with 3 people there.
Yeah.
Granted, you know, kind of just CZs, some armor and flashes, but
some of the earlier rounds have seen CLG leave. The thing is that CLG haven't changed up their strategy. It's been pretty much long control every single round, and then Cloud9
they really haven't changed anything.
No, pretty much nothing at all. And Cloud9 will either just go up cat and then continue to maybe anti-strat them and you can't see these air quotes.
I like the air quotes. Yeah, I was about to point it out.
By going out long, but they're just running into the exact same setup that existed last round. Except they don't know that. What just happened?
My gosh.
Doodle.
Well, he sees the forward smoke. Why do you throw that but to push through to Xbox? And he just takes a shot through it and it connects on the JDM, and now nothing there. Lower B, where he spends a lot of his time on this map, finding that kill onto Tarek. So the pistol armor, the force up here, as it is the last round of the half. And just nothing has worked. And the only adjustment we ever saw was that aggressive mid and cat hold with the double op setup.
Yeah. You know, this half has been
whoa, there's one heck of a flash.
Has been a series of successful rounds for Cloud9. I mean, 13 rounds on the board, only 2 for CLG. It's come down to obviously hitting your shots, keeping it dynamic, maintaining a better op presence than CLG has, right? In the couple of duels that were had, Scoodle's won them, and then gotten some of the most ridiculous picks through mid doors. Out long.
Yeah, he's got, what, 3 to 5? I don't really have a hard count on it, but he's hit a lot of people through those doors.
Yep.
And that can just destroy your morale. Maybe it's just a strat, CLG playing on hard mode, trying to get to OT again from a 2 to 13 score line. Just like, no problem. We can do this against Cloud9 all the time.
Yeah, just challenging themselves.
Yeah, so that'll be very, very difficult to come back. If Cloud9 at this point can take that pistol, it's just going to be, it's over.
Yeah.
There's really no sugarcoating this. 99% of the time, this should be over. And we witnessed the 1% yesterday on Cash.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, CLG are the comeback team. I mean, they do this time and time again. They lose halves by ridiculous margins and then manage to make the most of each round, take it round by round. They're really good at keeping their heads in the game, and it shows in the results. But in this situation, again, I don't know. It's going to be hard. Cloud9.
Oh, do they know that nothing got in here?
Probably just had a lot of talking about
like
their T side. And oh yeah, nothing. He's going to be waiting for a couple of frags. Will he find him? No, Hayes trades 1 for 1. That's going to be favorable for him.
Oh, Freak, though, does get him right afterwards. So the trade was there for Cloud9. Now a 4-on-3 advantage. And at this point, Skadoodle's got all the information. He's got 3 people coming up long. He knows they're there. Tarek, Glocks out. JDM as well. And Tarek, another long-range battle. Finally, he gets those bullets to drop, and he gets the headshot. So a 2 kill for both JDM and Tarek running up to that site, winning a 3v4.
Beginning of the end.
A comeback Kings, man. Could be it.
Man, that would be ridiculous. Now, Cloud9, will they buy? I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't. They've got enough for a couple of scouts, armor, pistol. It's, you know, they've got an enormous lead. That really shouldn't factor too much into their decision. It looks like, no, they are done. They are done.
They're not making any bad investments.
No. They came away with a very solid T side last time. It was their CT side that was the problem, and it looks like they're gonna cut right to the chase, wait for that op, and win on the rifle round. So, but CLG anticipating the force buys actually paid for some of the more expensive weapons that give you less kill reward, the rifles, right? A couple of Glows, a couple of AKs.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's kind of odd though, right? You always expect like at least an SMG. I like the mix to have one SMG. That way against the Eco or a Force Buy, you can have that SMG, or even just like the Tech9 in their case, just go and scout. Make sure you're not going to run into a stack, and then you don't give anything away to the other team to save. But here we go, CLG keeping everybody alive as they kind of just shut down Cloud9 and it was their full Eco. So, and another one to come here.
As they move forward into this round again, they didn't benefit from the kill reward. They didn't lose a single player, so there is some good that came of it. But at the same time, if it is the case that they do lose a round, they might be in kind of a bad place. That being said, they do have the guns that they want, and that is good news for them. Flash into upper B is going to deny some early pressure from Cutler. And look at the posturing from the CTs. Perfect response to the way CLG are set up right now.
If this is a round where on an Eco, Cloud9 can find some of these kills and force, you know, not great rebuys out of CLG, and going into this 4th round of the second half, it's going to be an amazing rifle round in terms of value, but CLG just gunning down everybody. They walk right through that stack. And Cloud9 not coming out of this round with a kill. And that terrorist economy is actually going to be really, really strong.
You know, that still affects you mentally, right? You run into the stack in a situation where you're going up against an anti-eco and you're trying to pick the path of least resistance, right? As a team, on T side, if you think that they're stacked B, you're not trying to walk into that. You know, it's fine if you take it slow, you take a fight 1 by 1, you should still win, but you're not trying to lose any guns whatsoever. So the fact that Cloud9 had that read on them is a point mentally over them. And if they continue to get in their heads, it's going to be a tough road back. But yeah, I guess you got to go brick by brick. And that's what CLG do excel at, 5 to 13.
And here's the rifle round. Let's see what gets upgraded. Will they try to stay on these Galils? I mean, those players might try to just milk the Galil a little bit longer. Now Sanks is going to say, I'm going for the AK here. It looks like Cutler might still be chilling with the Galil. JDM, though, has found the op. And, of course, after you've saved right off the start in Cloud9's position, now you've got a strong op round. And I could have sworn that might have been a tag, but no. Oh, there it is, I think, on the Shungaris now, the second shot.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to advocate like upgrading a weapon as good as the Galil is, but the Galil is so bad that like it's hard.
I think you just contradicted yourself there, Launders.
I'm just a consumer, okay?
You're,
it's the price.
You're a Galil hater.
The price gets to me.
All right, let's see. Skadoodle now playing from car, where we saw JDM didn't get too many good shots from that position up against Cloud9 in that first half. Maybe Skadoodle can do a bit better. It's like Hayes is ready to throw some set smokes to try to execute out there.
Are CLG going to work into some kind of execute right off the bat? It kind of looks like the exact same setup that they used on Cloud9 right here with this kind of long split. It's like a 4-1 right now, and I don't know. I think Sanks is just going to go out late. Yeah, he's lurking, so that would make the most sense. Will Tarek jump into CT? They volley themselves off Cat. He is going to fly in.
Whoa! Two of them going. That was a big jump. Skadoodle will hit that first shot, though. Can he find the other? Doesn't need to. Nothing will bring it in. And now Shroud pushing up through that smoke. He's going to be there now. And Sanks from long gonna, well, yeah, lights him up, but didn't quite aim at him quick enough. Oh! Bomb is planted. And Freak and Shungaris are actually rather low. So is JDM. Cutler still with that. Galil finds one more frag. That grenade went off on his eyeballs. What was that? And there it is. Cloud9 take that first rifle, but it was still very costly. They lost 3 people there.
Oh, it's trying to fit right in that orbital. And that was very costly, but more than that, I mean, it's Cloud9 getting a 14th round. I mean, they're sealing up the round before match point. It's very close to a GG for Cloud9, and CLG though they did do a good job on those 3 rounds following, or the 2 rounds following the pistol, and that's going to result in them having even more money after this buy.
Back-to-back tags at the start of the round for JDM. This time he hits nothing. Well, hit something, but it just happened to be named nothing. And the double ops, they'll pull it out again, this time on the other side of things. Tarek taking his, still spotting out that middle. JDM looking towards long, hoping for a push perhaps from Freakazoid, who is posted up in the pit. Shroud able to rotate back, and Skadoodle now is opping over towards mid. So again, 2-on-2 setup is almost every team does. And that's why Cat's just such a popular staging area now, because most of the time it's really not contested.
I just realized the setup has completely changed. You have Skadoodle here with the op actually at mid, and we have Freak as a long anchor. Earlier we saw Shroud having a really hard time anchoring long. You know, where he's known to get 1 or 2 kills pretty much every round, he was getting none. And, oh,
Skadoodle.
Ooh, that's a great way to open up a round.
Take one of those ops away here. A bit of a slow round, as you might expect, since the Terrorists did go for a double op setup, but it seems as now that about a minute off the clock, the action is starting to really ramp up. Nice grenade in from Shroud. He's got a scout of all things, and he will connect twice in a row. 3 if you count the grenade. Oh, they do a quick double peek. And that'll be successful. JDM to find it. Sanks brings down nothing. It was tagged earlier in the round, but there's Skadoodle hitting a nice flick shot. And now 3-on-2, but a couple players low on the side of Cloud9. The mid-to-B smoke will go down. That should telegraph some things. Is there an angle here over the gap at the top of that smoke? There is, but it's actually